Should you make Roblox games? Well, the answer is actually surprisingly simple. Absolutely not. Jokes aside, I thought that was a pretty good question. And as the greatest Roblox dev to ever grace the platform, and as the humble creator of not one, not two, not even four, but 6 cutscene tutorials, then it would only be fair for me to share some light on this and offer up my 2 cents, cause why not? So, without stalling, let's split the earth and dive into the unholy pit of hell that is Roblox Studio. And Roblox as a whole. I mean, they're both bad. Make sure you watch to the end. So, before anything, let's cover the engine itself, Roblox Studio. If you wish to make games on this platform, well, that's the engine you'll be calling home. So, we'll start with the pros. Simplicity is definitely a big one. Roblox Studio, albeit not perfect, is very simple. When you first open it up, you aren't bombarded with 1,000 screens or complex visuals or, I mean, hell, it literally just shows one square and another square. I'd actually go as far to compare Barebones Studio to Minimator, which is a very, very simple Minecraft animation software. But that's what makes it so fun. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to get started. And like I said, when you open up your first ever project, you're greeted with the base plate and a spawn location. Just 2 squares, a big one and a small one. But like many things, at first the interface can be a bit daunting, but you'll usually find yourself figuring things out pretty quickly if you just mess around, like add a part, drag it around, and before you know it, you have multiple parts with different colors and different materials, and it looks terrible, but you're figuring it out. Matter of fact, little by little, the more that you mess around with it, you'll find out that it's basically like building with digital Legos, which is very beginner friendly. That's what I like about Roblox Studio. Feels like anybody can just open it up, make something, and even if that something is interesting, you still made something. For example, if I just open up Blender with no experience, I'm probably not going to be able to make nearly as much as I'd be able to make on Roblox Studio, because Blender is a lot more scary to learn compared to Roblox Studio's very simplistic nature. And I'd go as far to say it's equally as simple to dive into the programming side of Roblox as it is to dive into the building side. And alongside that simplicity, Roblox Studio also has a large catalog of tutorials and sort of okay documentation, although I rarely use it because it's kinda jank. But where I find documentation lacking, I usually find my answers on the Roblox Studio forums. Roblox Studio also has a pretty decent selection of user-generated content, albeit if you manage to avoid the virus-filled content. But I usually find things like the toolbox being more handy than they are troublesome. There's also a pretty decent selection of plugins, which honestly speed up the development process so much to the point where they're actually worth spending money on. But that's very situational. Some of them are very bad. Back to the programming side. Roblox uses a pretty lightweight language called Lua-U, which from my experience, it's very simple, pretty easy to learn. But despite said simplicity, you can actually do some pretty complex things with it if you need it to. So, with all that said, let's move over to the cons. Honestly, in my opinion, there's not really that many things wrong with Studio. Of course, there's a lot of room for improvement, but really, if I had to complain, I would really prefer if Roblox Studio had more customization options, because I feel like most games on the platform right now are one of 2 styles. They're either that little studs thing where everything looks old like retro slop, or they're overly realistic. And of course, it really depends on the developers. Some people are creative enough to work around these limitations, but most games will not work around them. You either get realistic or simple, which there's nothing inherently wrong with. It just would be cool if Studio itself gave you some more options like shaders or something. And my other real big complaint that I actually have is the forced updates. Like Roblox Studio, I was just using it and my UI went from being normal Roblox Studio UI to this new UI. And I'm not gonna lie, it's not bad, but I kind of dislike the fact that it was just forced on me. Because what if there's a really bad update that's gonna come out and I just don't have any say-so in it, and now, bam, I just have to deal with it. And it just sucks. Like, you got used to doing something a certain way, and for no reason they decide to change it, and it's not really making anything better. But that's just how it is. I just don't like being at the mercy of those updates. But for the most part, Studio is rather untouched, and usually the updates they add actually are pretty beneficial, like performance updates or new features that nobody will mind, you know, who doesn't like a new feature? And that concludes the Studio segment of this video. If I had to summarize it, It's simple, gets the job done, it's fun, but there's definitely room for improvement. Now, onto the massive flaming poop-colored elephant in the room, Roblox itself. Roblox really has some good things going for it, but man are those overshadowed by the bad. So, to do Roblox some justice, even though I don't think it really deserves it, we'll start with the pros. The first pro, and probably also the biggest con, is the sheer absolute size of Roblox and its community. If you're a developer, not only does Roblox host the servers, but there are millions of active players. Honestly, some games can really blow up. You can have millions of concurrent users, assuming you reach the front page. So, if you're a developer looking for a large reach, that's wonderful. And like I mentioned, Roblox also hosts these servers for you because, oh my lord, I could not imagine how expensive it would be to host servers that can have millions of people on them at once. That's insane. But, like most things that sound too good to be true, this is one of them. Roblox's community isn't inherently bad, but man, if you're a solo dev or even a small team, trying to be found in such a massive community is the equivalent of finding a grain of salt in the ocean. It's an already large crowd, but that's the thing, not everybody is a solo dev. Matter of fact, not even everybody has a small team, but you'll also be competing against massive companies for that front page. So say you have $10 to put into advertisements. Well, too bad, little Timmy, because this company has $3 million to put into advertisements. Granted, I have no idea how much these companies spend, but seeing how much the top games on Roblox profit, assuming they're owned by a company, I'd imagine spending a hefty amount of money on advertisements is nothing to them, which means that it can be quite competitive to be found on this platform. But it's definitely not impossible. You know, rather than dumping a bunch of money into ads, you can start a YouTube channel, you can upload trailers and garner a community of your own, which is a good way to grow your game, other than spending a bunch of money on advertisements. But even so, that risk, the fact that you might not be found, is far outweighed by the benefits of if you are found, because like I said, man, these top games on Roblox make a lot of money. But it can be quite misleading to young lads because, well, they think they can just get on the front page, and that's not usually how it works. You usually you gotta know what you're doing to get on the front page, but it's definitely not impossible. I've seen some crazy things happen on Roblox. But yeah, if you know what you're doing, you won't even have to spend a dime. Now, I know I said I was going to cover the pros first, but basically every pro has a con attached to it, so let's scratch that way of doing it. We're going to talk about Roblox's biggest con, because honestly, that's the one thing holding a lot of people back, or at least making it hard for me to recommend it to people. So, if you've been around for any amount of time, you've probably heard of Roblox's CEO and his shady track record of not so great things. So, unless you live under a rock, you've probably heard of Roblox's bad moderation. And the moderation, like the bar for how bad it is set pretty high. Yet the CEO has managed to leap over that bar and set a whole new record for shady CEO. So with a mixture of the CEO making not so good choices, like the kind of choices that put his users in danger, and then the moderation being absolutely atrocious to the point where it's basically useless and it'll probably get you banned for no reason, it can be pretty hard to recommend Roblox and Roblox Studio to new programmers, new developers, or even aspiring developers. So that's where I'm at right now. I'd say there's a lot of really bad things on Roblox right now, and Roblox is honestly kind of on fire. Corporate is just burning down, but I still have hope that things will change soon. Because, you know, if they don't change things soon, they're gonna lose a lot of money. It sounds bad, like, oh, they don't care about the users. They probably don't. They really do just care about money, but there are some good people at Roblox. Not everybody's a bad egg. So I have hope that the good will shine through, and if I'm wrong, then this video will age like milk, but that's fine. So, with all that said, should you spend time learning Roblox Studio? Well, I guess it really just depends. I personally like making things on Roblox. It's been a part of my life since I was very little, and I enjoy teaching it now as well. If you're a new dev or an aspiring dev and you just want to make something, Roblox is a great way to make things, and you can share them with your friends. Like I said, the servers are hosted by Roblox, so your games could actually have some pretty good reach to them. And although the community is full of a lot of interesting people, interesting people, For the most part, it's pretty good, and you'll often find yourself making more friends than you will enemies. So I could definitely recommend Roblox. Even though right now it's kind of burning down, I feel like it's a good place to start. Of course, it's not the only place to start, but if you're a new developer, Roblox is very beginner friendly, and the things that you learn on this platform, the things you learn in this game engine, can very easily, for the most part, carry over into learning. They can very much carry over into your next game engine, so when you learn something new, it will be a little bit easier because you already have a background in another programming language and another game engine, so it's not going to be your first rodeo. So, as it stands, even with the terrible CEO and the awful moderation, I'd say the engine itself is pretty fun to make games on. The community's pretty damn cool, for the most part, and I could still recommend it as it is right now. Now, if Roblox goes and explodes, there'll be a follow-up video to this telling you not to